Hey everybody, this is Kohdok here, and today we are looking at Shardbugs. Shardbugs is an independent Kickstarter game that is about halfway through their campaign right now, although they basically hit their goal right away. They are still working on running up the score, and they sent me a bunch of stuff to look at. So, Shardbugs is a game that I guess I will say is sort of similar to Lorcana, but it feels a bit more like if Lorcana was done correctly. So, it does borrow a few things from Magic. It borrows sort of the win condition of Lorcana. However, one of the big differences in this game is that the devotion, which is this game's term for lore, is something you actually have to protect with your bugs. But I think it does a lot of things that make more sense than Lorcana. Like I said, having devotion be something you protect means you're dedicating characters to protecting your devotion rather than protecting your units. In this game, it's a bit like Magic the Gathering with attackers and blockers, so while gathering devotion itself isn't really something that you can deal with by attacking the bugs that cause devotion, there are ways to just attack the devotion directly in order to cause it. So it's something that can be interacted with by more than one color. The other mechanic it has is it has an area called the Hive. This is your resource row. Works a bit more in the Duel Masters faction in that cards enter this row face up. But rather than the weird and clunky uninkable system that Lorcana uses, instead, the only cards that can go down here are bugs. There are basically bug cards, which are like your characters, your units, your monsters, your creatures, whatever. And there's everything else, which would be support, action, and gear. But it makes narrative sense for them to do it this way, because the idea is that as bugs, they are going to work in your hive. So it's like bees, when they're not stinging the ever-loving daylights out of you, they are, they're tending to the hive, they're processing honey, they're taking care of the young, stuff like that. So the idea is that your bugs can transition between the hive and the field basically as an action when they want. You can quite literally, every single faction can ramp by you play a bug, you tap to play another bug, and then on the next turn, once summoning sickness wears off, that bug can tap to go into the hive and basically get you another resource for next turn. Also, if a game starts to go long, you know how like Magic the Gathering games will have like 11 lands out with nothing to do? You can have those bugs in your hive, you can pay their cost to send them out to start throwing hands. So I love how they have this mechanic here that gives you a whole lot more control over your resource row in a way that's easy to understand if you imagine it as being bugs going in and out of a hive. They're worker bees, they're worker ants going in and out of the hive to do different tasks. And I think that's super easy to understand. The only thing about this game that I think is maybe a bit tricky is the trait system, which has a rock, paper, scissors thing going for it. It's why in the how to play video, I have a very traumatic scene to learn exactly how that system works. Although, speaking of that video, did anybody notice this? Yeah, Mothma sent Wormbo to the hive without tapping him. You're supposed to exhaust a bug when you send them to the hive. Mothma cheated! So anyway, the folks at Shardbugs have sent me a couple of fun things. They've sent me a booster box, which they have specified, I should say, for a rainy day, but they also sent me the beginner splat box. Get it? It's a pun. So the beginner splat box is probably their best choice for pre-constructed, for if you're doing a Kickstarter, it's a pretty good choice. They actually managed to get their product done and shipped in time to duck under the tariffs that are busy destroying the gaming space as we know it. So it's not like these things are going to have a sudden surprise hike in price, at least as far as I understand, because they already have it in hand. They're using this as a way to build hype and distribute. But the Beginner Splat box is a really good design. You can see it's a storage box. It's a large one. The cards actually go in horizontally on edge with a lot of space above it. I guess if you wanted to make some really flashy custom designer dividers, then that option is open to you. But what it contains is 3 pre-constructed decks. It contains got your book and separate playmat. That's very nice. I don't know if is this a 2-player playmat or a 1-player mat. I think this is a 1-player mat, but they also sent me the vinyl one, so I am good to go. It also comes with a D20. Devotion is tracked in 20, although I wonder, has anybody ever made a spin down dice that has a 0 instead of a 20? Because that would be nice for games like Lorcana or like Shardbugs, where you start at 0 and want to get to 20, so 19 would be the highest number that you get. But this is actually a very, very sharp, very pointy dice here. And then finally we have the piece de resistance, the real raison d'etre. In this watermelon colored box, we have three starter decks. So this is a storage box that comes with 3 starter decks, the rules in a separate book, the playmat, well, 1 playmat, but it should be enough if you're familiar with how other games work, a package of 3 booster packs, which actually are slipped in this fun little box here with some fun artwork on it, and the 3 starter decks. You want to know how much this is combined? This set, as they are selling it for their Kickstarter price, is $45 before shipping. That's $15 a deck with lots of great bonuses. This is a steal. And apparently this is this first run of boxes is the only one that's going to look like this. Apparently they're going to be doing some fun stuff with it in the future. So why don't we take a look at one of the decks? How about we do the Solar Storm Sol deck, the one that I showed off in the How to Play video. So the How to Play video, it's mostly cards from these starter decks. There's a couple that come from out of it, and one of the ones that Dave uses is actually a sneak peek for set 2. But yeah, they're going to have they're going to add a cool bug on the front of this artwork. This stuff that's a bit simpler is going to be the basic one for now, but let's have a look. So Shardbugs, the game, has a sort of comic book art style. You can kind of see on the playmat here, you can see little comic book word balloons and panels and stuff like that. So they designed it to look like a comic book. It's a very sharp style in a world of fantasy paintings and anime art. Actually leaning in to go for that classic Bronze Age comic book look, I think is really nice. So inside our box we have our deck of 61 cards, 61 because it includes your Cosmic Avatar. So your deck does have a limitation in the form of you picking a Cosmic Avatar, and your deck can contain cards that either contain that avatar's, I believe it's called I use the word devotion in the How to Play video, but I believe it has something else. It's like attribute or something like that. But they have to have either this or they have to be unaligned cards. Oh, they didn't make a separate card back for them. But the idea is that you get a cool ability. I have heard, Little Birdie told me that they are thinking of doing cards or avatars that have multiple types to them, but in exchange you basically don't get ability. And Sol's ability is really good. It's pay 2 to draw a card. That's a pretty good one. There's also Luna and Mars. Luna lets you Fate Seal, and Mars lets you do direct damage to a bug. So they all have some very good abilities onto them. I like how there's the large art there. It's a perfect place to put your counter for when you're counting up devotion. If they made counters in different shapes, if they made a disc or something like that, it could totally just fit on top of this card as a way to track devotion. Keeps that all in one place. And like I said, the card backs here, you can see very, very sharp colors here. So many of these games want to do these sorts of muted colors, but Shardbugs just goes absolutely nuts with the bright greens and magentas. Yeah, it's not just the boxes that have this bright color scheme to them. We got this really slick back right here. I really like how they did these card backs here. So let us get into characters. So this is a very expensive character. It has an effect that can increase its attack. I believe this is a quick action, but you can increase its attack by discarding cards to your hand. Spiny Swordmaster. So what we have here is we have the dust cost. It works like your mana cost in any other game, so you can use 2 typeless and 3 soul. 2 of any type. So there are non-aligned characters in this deck. However, you are allowed to use them. Any bug you put into your hive generates dust based on their type. So typeless bugs generate typeless dust. And here's the thing is typeless bugs actually tend to be really good. Their one downside is that because they're not connected to one of these divine forces that has, I forgot a little bit of the lore here. These divine forces came from outer space and decided, giving powers to humans is boring. Let's give them to bugs instead. So, the bugs that are aligned with one of these forces have at least 1 point of devotion. And what they can do is during their turn, they can bow to their god, essentially, to gain devotion. And the goal is to gather 20 devotion to summon your god and impose your will. Maybe you're taking over the world, maybe you're putting out a forest fire, but some sort of an incredible thing. So, Spiny Swordmaster also has the ability Stomp. Stomp is trample, meaning that after you deal lethal damage to anything blocking it, the remaining damage goes through. So you do have to splat a card from your hand. So Splat is this game's version of Destroy because, it's a bug. So you can discard it to go up to 6 attack from 3. Maybe not the best. If we ever get cards that benefit from being discarded or going to the discard pile, then this thing is going to be... It seems like it can be a combo starter if we get cards that benefit from being discarded. Before that, I'd say Spiny Swordmaster is probably one of the weaker cards. Okay, another stat here is actually rarity. So this is how many copies of the card you're allowed to put in your deck. It used to be the other way around where common cards had just one, but now they've made it so that the rarity symbol is how many copies of a card you can put into your deck. And Spiny Swordmaster is an uncommon, which means it can have up to 4. Commons can have 5, and ultra rare cards you can only have 2 copies of. So that's a fun way to limit how many cards you need. It also means that they can't really get away with trying to hype rarity any good cards, because then those cards become unplayable because there's a dearth of them. We of course have attack and defense. Attack is the yellow, defense is the white. And then we have, I think, probably the only knowledge check in the game, and that is attribute. So bugs come in flying, swimming, and tunneling based on how they live. There's a lot of water bugs in here as well, like bobbits. I assume there's going to be crabs and lobsters and stuff too. But basically, any bug that is in combat with this bug, if you resist the type, let's go back to, where was it? Yeah, Flying Bell Sentry is a swimming type bug. So if these two bugs were to fight, the Diving Bell Sentry would do 1 less damage to the Spiny Swordmaster because it resists water. Like I said, I think this is the only knowledge check. It's why I made the scene with it so dramatic, but that's the basics. Let's go on. Okay, the Blessing of Sol is a support card. These are your enchantments, your permanents, your continuous spells. What they do is they come into play and they can be activated to do things. Blessing of Sol is a regular rare. You can have up to 3 copies in your deck. And this one has the effect that you can pay 1, and once per turn, target bug on your field gains +2 devotion. And like I said, devotion is the stat I mentioned before. You can actually give devotion to unaligned bugs and use their ability to gain devotion. So you can temporarily beef them up. They can briefly see the light, which is, I guess, appropriate for Sol. It doesn't say to exhaust the card, but I do that just to indicate that it's been used for the turn. Sunflowers. This is a location ability, which gives all solar bugs +1 defense. So Sol is a very defensive type. It's one about working, cultivation. There's a lot of ramp in this deck. There's a lot of defense in this deck. There's not a lot of ways to try to break your opponent's strategy, but the goal is to try to, build yourself up really well, build up your devotion really well, build up your defenses really well, and just try to go for it. So this, I'd say, is sort of the combo. Actually, this might be more of a mid-range deck because the goal is you can set it up fairly quickly. Luna would be the combo deck with a lot of interesting tricks and abilities, although Luna can also be aggro. It has a lot of very high devotion cards that are pretty cheap. And of course, Mars is, destruction, control, all that stuff. Lots of bugs that can attack right away. Lots of ways to destroy bugs. Lots of fun stuff. Now we have this is an action card. So an action card, it's your one and done. It's your instants and sorceries. It's your spells and traps. This is a card called the Boot. Oh no, it's a size 12, and I love how the foot pad has like little skeleton skulls on it. It's a basically fireball, but it can only target bugs. It deals X damage to target bugs. I thought this was a quick action at first. If it was, it would be kind of a cool way to sneak in a little extra damage, but no, it's basically a very roundabout form of removal. But since it is unaligned, that means it makes sense in every deck. Common, you can pack 5 copies. This one gives you 4. Morning Dew. I actually think it's a little weird that this is a quick action. What it does is it lets you draw 2, then splat 1. So it's 3 dust to draw essentially 1 card. It's basically a +0 card. Like I said, this card would be very good if there's cards that benefit from hitting the discard pile. I wonder if we'll get like a Cordyceps archetype that is all about the discard pile. That might be pretty crazy. This one I don't think is as good because of its price and the fact that you have to discard. The Shovel. Okay, this is, to correct a solemnism. Okay, so Shovel is a card that can either create 6 1/1s, 3 2/2s, or 2 3/3s. I guarantee you 90% of the time people are going to be making the 6 1/1s. Although because of the fact that because aquatic bugs can be trouble for this, because every single bug, if you try to send like 6 ants to block your opponent's aquatic type, they're going to do 0 damage to it because it decreases the damage from every single one. But the fact that it just puts so many bodies on the field, it gives you things like action economy and stuff like that, I guarantee you 90% of the time people are going to be making the 6 1/1s. Bumble Speaker. This is another common, but this is a good one because you get +1 defense for each bee in your hive. And like I said, the hive is the location where you can where you put bugs to play cards, and there is at least one other bug in this deck I know, one that actually benefits from being sent to the hive. So like I said, there's a lot more of that defense. It's a lot harder to kick this guy with his 2 devotion for cost 2, which is pretty good. If you get some bugs out. And the deck comes with a full play set of 5. And here it is, right immediately, Honey Alchemist. It's 2 for only 1 devotion, but when it goes to the hive, it does not exhaust, meaning that you can use it to play cards right away. So if you want to send it out as a body to gather devotion, and then if you have to send it back to your hive, you can use it to pay for costs right away. Great card for like surprise ramping and stuff like that. They give you a full play set. Devoted Ladybug. When it is splat, you can exhaust and splat the bug to gain 3 devotion. That's not bad. You could use that as a win con. It's sort of a Mog fanatic ability. I don't think it's a quick action, but well, I'd have to ask, is this a quick action? Because if it is a quick action, I'd use it to block and then splat it for its ability. Commander Orchid. This is a prominent one. This is one it's cheaper than Spiny Swordmaster, but I'd say it's better because when it gets splat, it does the Thragtusk thing. It creates 2 1/1 ant tokens when it gets splatted. So it has the 2 devotion. It has a pretty good cost. It's got a decent body at 3/3, and it does what needs to be done. Moving on. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Dave Swiftfoot. This I actually think is a good card. He's sort of the mascot character of the series, and I honestly do think that they made a good choice because Dave Swiftfoot has a lot of utility. He is a 3-cost 2/4 who hard shell when he's defending. He gains +1 defense, so he becomes a 2/5. But the important one is focus. So a lot of you are thinking, like, if my opponent can just attack my devotion to make it go away, I'll just turtle up and have it so that I have enough devotion to win in one go without having to reduce any attacks from my opponent. Wrong. This ability, Focus, it basically, if your opponent has untapped bugs, you can use Focus to force that one of those bugs to block this character when they attack. Focus forces an opponent to engage with you. So an opponent who tries to do the strategy of turtling up, you can play characters with Focus and try to chip away at that. However, the only faction that reliably gets bugs with Focus is Luna, which means that Dave Swiftfoot, as an unaligned character with Focus, is a really important card that you're probably going to see in a lot of decks. It has the Focus ability, which gives it the ability to take care of threats, like things that might have a decent amount of devotion. Like if you play devotion, it's not safe if Dave is in play because he can just smack it down. He's got good defense at 4, which becomes 5 on the block. The fact that he can equip items for free is kind of just a bonus. He has so much utility, I imagine this guy is going to see a lot of use. So, as far as choices of mascots were concerned, this was probably a good choice for them. Woolly Bear. Remember what I said about ramp? Unlike, he has the effect where he generates 2 dust when he's exhausted in the hive, but he enters the hive exhausted. So I don't think the other factions have a card like this. So this is another example of the Saul ramping ability. Gilded Sentry Ants. This is like Bumble Speaker before. It's also 2 defense. It gets +1 defense for each ant on your field. That's actually kind of interesting because every faction has ants in it. I wonder if we're going to get a divine that can, you know, cross barriers, but the only bugs they can summon are ants. That might be interesting. Moving on. Gold Field Ants, and we have our weenie for the deck, our little guy. And it also does the Thragtusk thing. You play it, it's really weak, but when it dies, it gets replaced by an ant token. I don't know if this one has tokens in here. I'll have to double check. I suggested that we have tokens in here, but I haven't found them yet. Get a full play set of that. Diving Bell Sentry, we took a look at this. It actually has an ability called Venom, and Venom is actually, as long as it is attacking something that does not have Venom, Venom bugs deal their damage as -1/-1 counters to bugs without Venom. So this is also a pretty dangerous effect, especially on a 2-cost 2/3 body. But again, that lack of devotion means he can only be used for attacking and defending, and maybe dust if you're desperate. So you have to make your choices. And there he is, Slug Brute. He has Stomp with Trample. He is, you know, basic dumb muscle with the meatball quote. Do it now. 3 cost. Definitely a way to get a body on the field. And then Bomber Botfly. This was actually going to be in the tutorial until he hit some problems. Well, they changed how Venom worked. Venom used to just be +1 attack against creatures without Venom, which meant that this guy could get squashed by a 1/1 that could defeat him without dying. When this bug is splat, you may draw a card. So he's a small body, but his little effect is pretty nice. Good chump blocker, can do all sorts of fun stuff. And then we have our items. We have Lollipop Hammer. Equipped bug gains +2 attack and stomp. And these work like the equipment from Magic the Gathering, in that you have to pay a fee to attach it. In this case, there's a limited number of cards that it can actually be equipped to. But like equipment cards in Magic the Gathering, if the bug they are attached to dies or goes to the hive, they leave their equipment where it sits. And Bottle Cap Shield is the reverse version of that. So, yeah, that's the Saul deck. Like I said, very, very tanky, very combo. No, not very combo. Very, very ramp. A lot of tankiness, a lot of ramp. It has conjures a lot of replacement units. When they die, it has ways to boost your dust. So they are very, very defensive as far as attributes go. But yeah, I hope you get the gist. This is the very defensive deck, and then we also have a couple more in the form of Luna, which has a lot of characters that's focused in it. So Luna can do a lot to disrupt what your opponent is up to. So lots of fun stuff like that. Lots of disruption. They actually have a lot of things that discard cards. A lot of things that they have a more direct ramp in the form of a card that works like Land of War Elves. But a lot of tricks, a lot of control in this deck, a lot of fun. And Mars is the aggro destruction deck. There's lots of direct damage to bugs. There's lots of ways to destroy bugs. There's lots of bugs with aggro, which is this game's version of haste. So all of them sort of have their ups and downs on how to enter their strategy. But I'm not going to bore you with every single deck in the box. I think Saul was, what, like 15 minutes of just looking at these cards. But anyway, let us, why don't we have a look at what we got in the booster packs? These are always fun. Like I said, the booster box I've been asked to hold on to for a rainy day, but they never said anything about the packs in the box here. Ooh, I'm being naughty. I'm doing it bad. I'm gonna be spoiling cards. Oh no. Okay, so we got the 3 booster packs. I wonder if one of these decks maybe contains the tokens necessary for that, because I did give another game grief for shipping a box with cards that generate tokens without actually including them. So, the beginning, 10 game cards. And they actually, oh, that's cool. Right on the front, these are a bunch of the illustrators. They actually have the illustrators credited on the front of the booster pack. That's actually, that's pretty legit. I kind of appreciate that. Cool. All right. So let us see. Oh, there's the others on the top. But yeah, that's cool. They're very proud of their artists and illustrators. When making the How to Play video, I got to play around with their art a whole lot. You would not believe that nighttime scene came from a card art that was basically vertical. Anyway, let us have a look at our first pack. I don't know how distribution goes, but we'll see. Bottle Cap Shield, we saw this in the deck. Bomber Botfly, we saw this in the deck. Blood Hunter, ooh. A Bug Fly Cleric. When this bug deals combat damage to an enemy's devotion, gain 1 devotion. Oh, that's a good one. For like direct attacking and stuff like that. It's a 1-cost typeless, so you could use this in practically any deck. Sunflowers, which is upside down. We saw that in the deck. Sugar Water. Look at the top card of your deck. You may put it on top or bottom of your deck, draw a card. Okay, it is... I think this is Opt. I think this is the same as Opt, which is scry 1, draw a card. Tiger Beast. Oh, that's a scary guy. Aggro. When this bug is played from hand, it gains +2 attack and stomp until end of turn. Oh, that's cool. So it can attack right away. It can also go for devotion right away with aggro, I also believe. But it becomes a 5/3 with stomp for 4, which isn't too bad. That's a good way to surprise take away a bunch of devotion. Twilight's Charm. Exhaust up to 2 target bugs. They don't ready the next time they would be able to. This is another Luna trick. I honestly think Luna should also have some cards that untap, that ready your opponent's bugs so that you can target them with focus and get them down, but maybe that's just me. And Venomous Fangs. The Venomous Fangs, which gives a bug venom and focus. Another very, very good unaligned card that I think is going to see play in a lot of decks because of the sheer amount of disruption it can provide. And Foil Woolly Bear. Okay, that's the one we saw in the deck, but nice to get it. It's a rare. I don't know if that means, does that mean I get a second rare in the pack, or is the rare slot always going to be foil? But yeah, he's a happy little guy. And, oh, it's Durrell! Dewey the Ant Warrior. The Ant Warrior token, are they two-sided? No, they are not. But I guess the tokens are coming in the packs. I'll check the box again, but it would be nice if we could get more of these little guys. All right. On to the next one. Let's see if I can... there's a couple specific cards I'm looking for. You know who I'm looking for. Come on, guys. I'm looking for Wormbo Wagons. Let's see if he's in any of these packs. Subterranean Spit Knight. This is another card that I was originally going to use. This was the card that was going to fight Bomber Botfly using the old rules for Venom, which meant it dealt 1 additional damage. That kind of didn't work. Sea Tree Seer. A 1-cost 2 lore character. So that's a very, very aggressive card too, to devotion character. That's some very aggressive stuff. This is the kind of thing that you want to wipe out with the boot. These are things that you want to try to get rid of with focus before they can really get going. An upside down card. Scorched Field. Meteor bugs you control gain +1 attack when blocked. Ooh, that's kind of mean. So it means that it punishes blocking. So it kind of gives your opponent the question, do I block or do I let it through? Very, very, very good stuff. And then we have Saturn Seer. All eyes on me. Exhaust to scry 1. And they're all, like, really reversed. Rose Duelist. Oh, that's a cool one. A Beetle Warrior. Normally you wouldn't think that beetles would be given, like, you know, the sort of feminine treatment. Normally you think of them as, like, the big, tough guys. But aggro and splat this bug, splat target item. Oh, that's good. So we have item removal. Those are the equipment cards. Bark Chestplate. Equipped bug gains +1 defense and +1 devotion value. Ooh, that's a good one for cards like, I don't know if we can get Mothma out of one of these packs, but Mothma is a good choice for this type of card. And we have Bubblemancer, Hardshell. Yeah, I told you there would be crabs, although it says Beetle Mage, but yeah, this is an underwater character with Hardshell, so it gets +1 defense on the block. When this bug is splat, you may pay 1 Sol to gain 1 devotion. Okay. Ladybug, we saw that before, and foil version of the Shovel, which is completely indiscernible thanks to the foil there. Now we can see it with a little bit, but yeah, that's a very glittery card. And the Beetle Warrior token. Okay, let's see if we can get a showcase. And let's have a look at our final pack. Come on, Wormbo. See if I can get Wormbo or Mothma. Okay, and... oh, they like to flip them around. We have Whirlpool Whirligig. Also has aggro. It's 4 cost, which is a little odd, but I guess the idea is that I can get devotion right away. Water Balloons. Splat this card until end of turn. This bug that was equipped to this bug gains exhaust. Deal 4 damage to target bug with flying. Oh, so some roundabout removal, but one that I appreciate. The Boot. Moth of the Peppered Flame. Ah, this one appeared. This is another one with a lot of utility for Luna decks. I imagine this being in practically any Luna deck. It's a 2/2/2, 2 attack, 2 defense, 2 devotion. It does cost 3, but it also gets focus, and it draws you a card when it is defeated. It has so many things you can do with it. If there's a card that requires you to splat a card, when this card is splat, so that includes splatting a card from your hand. Like I said, with cards like Morning Dew, or unfortunately this cannot work with Spiny Swordmaster, but if you splat this card with Morning Dew, you do get to use its effect. So, very nice. I think Bomber Botfly does too. Lubber Lancer, exhaust target bug, exhaust target bug, so cost 2, it's an unaligned, pretty good one. Flee from danger, put target bug into its owner's hand. It is a Sol action, it's very expensive, but it is a form of removal. It's a blue type of removal. Put target bug into its owner's hand. I think this means it can also target bugs in the hive, which is kind of interesting. Fly Swatter, splat up to 2 target bugs with flying. It's a generic 5 cost. Well, I don't know if it has that much utility since it targets 2 for that price. Acid Rain, deal 1 damage to all bugs on the field. Oh, this is a token cleaner. This is a way to wipe out all those ant tokens that the opponent keeps summoning with Shovel. And the Blessing of Mars, lose 1 devotion to you can pay 1 devotion to draw a card. Okay, so another way to sort of take advantage of aggro, sort of trade a little bit of your advance towards victory. And I got the Worm Warrior. Oh, look at this little guy. How is he a 3/3? This is like the warrior versus pig situation in Magic the Gathering. But yeah, I was able to get a showcase of the token, so that was nice. All right, so that is the Shardbugs. That's a preview of the Shardbugs there. The packs had some good variety to them. I don't think we really had a lot of run-ons there. But yeah, that is the Shardbugs trading card game. I actually think it's pretty good. I think it kind of is what Lorcana wishes it was. So if it interests you, they have hit their Kickstarter goal. They have their product already in hand, past all the tariffs and stuff. I'm sure people are going to look back at this video and laugh in a few years. But like I said, they're trying to run up the score, trying to get more stretch goals, trying to get more stuff that they can send to you. And, it's some good stuff. So, yeah. Until next time, this is Shardbugs by, I guess, Shardbugs, and this is Kohdok signing off.
Oh, Wormbo Waggins is a slimy fellow. His tail is long and his sword is yellow. Oh, hey there, all of you out there. If you could like and subscribe, that would help us out a lot. Thank you. Oh, Wormbo Waggins is a slimy fellow. His tail is long and his sword is yellow.